Hey, thanks for joining. Let's work on bug fixing and list ordering. This is part 12 of a stream series where I'm building a website called Latterly. The playlist is saved on YouTube. Here it is. Here's the website Latterly. And here is the pull request where we need to fix the build and fix some other bugs. Then we can merge it and ship some features. What's the current issue? The current issue is this standard checklist renders checklist items out of order. Kind of hard to have a useful checklist if the checklist isn't in order. In this case in particular, they are intended to be an ordered list. It's not as though you can complete these in any order. So the point of this checklist is to help someone learn how to land their first programming role from ground zero. With no background knowledge in programming, they're going to learn programming and then pursue the job search, including best practices like optimizing the LinkedIn and resume. There's a particular order to that. You don't want to go applying for jobs before you learn HTML. So that's the issue. We have fixed this on the we fixed this in the database schema. So there now does exist a display index property. Can bring up the Prisma schema. These checklist items is what they're called, and they do now have a display index property. By the way, it's currently nullable, so we want to remove the nullability. And yeah, I can confirm. Here we are in Supabase. This is the list of checklists. So one checklist has many checklist items. Let's go over to the checklist items. And we want to make sure that we have display index values on all of these rows now. And we do. So at one time, the column didn't exist. That's why we had to create it in a nullable state. Then we update the values. Now that these values have been updated, we can remove the nullability from the schema, run another migration, and then we need to update the UI code to use this new index that we have just placed. That's what we're doing today. Let's dive in. Thanks for being here. And we already have some follows, and we already have some people on TikTok. Let me know where you're joining from. By the way, you can go to YouTube and see the full screen. Okay. So to start, let's start by just removing the nullability on the checklist item display index. Here I'm going to npm run migrate. You can watch the command line or look into the package.json to see what this command is technically invoking. So here's the command chain. It's going to back up users. I back up time before I migrate my database. I've had too many nightmares, okay? We're backing up the users. You're going to be safe and sound. Then we run the Prisma migrate dev. So we're using Prisma here technically. And then we restore users after the fact, which in this case won't be relevant because we're not altering the user table. But it's not a dangerous operation. Let's go over to source control. I can go ahead and stage this eagerly, just basically assuming that it's going to work. And other than that, we are just waiting on the command line to finish. So I get a complaint about the database server. Let's make sure we're online. I'll go to prod.latterly.io. It seems that I'm logged in. Let me force log out and log back in. And it worked. So the database connection is working fine for me. The fact that I can view these checklist items does mean that the database is returning data. We can confirm here in the network response. I'm getting data. So the database is working. Let's test this again in case it was a so-called blip. And then a likely candidate is that my environment variables on this computer may be pointing to a different database URL. So that could be causing this issue as well. So basically we confirmed that Oh, and the backup of 27 users completed. Okay, so I think there was some intermittent connection issue. It happens sometimes. So let's name the new migration. This is non-nullable checklist item display index. Over 25 people in the chat. Let me know where you're coming in from. Thank you for the likes. Over 100 likes so far. So glad you're here. Isaac, Cameron, Bradley, Tajir. Not sure if I'm saying that right. Jacob, Gabe. Thanks for being here, y'all. Random code number. Thank you for the follow. Okay, so now we have this migration lock file. I will stage these and commit a feature commit. I think this counts as a feature. The display index cannot be null. Let's push that. This is all open source, so you will see the push arrive here. Display index cannot be null. The yellow dot indicates that Vercel is going to automatically try to build this commit. I expect the build to fail because it has been failing and I have not wittingly addressed the failure. I expect the build to fail. And here it is, laterally 3. So you can go check this out. What I'd like to do next is go ahead and fix the build. Let's fix the build first, and then we will address the UI utilization of the property later. Okay, so it's complaining about the checklist create data input. The new versions that we have added to the data model in our Prisma schema are not being passed into this form. So that is a perfectly valid and expected error. These are the sorts of errors that you want to see. Your tools are helping you, not confusing you. They're preventing you from shipping bugs. So let's get away from the mindset that errors are bad. Errors are another kind of tool. I don't need this log message. Here I have the checklist schema. I'll control so I can dive in and see the type. This is taking me to a DTS file. This is not. This is fine. Okay, so I need to update this file. Yep. I need to align this with my schema. I could ask GPT to do the alignment, but I'm not going to. Display text, we want that. Is complete already exist? Is complete already exists. So we want the display text and the display index. So here's the name. I don't believe I have a name on this entity anymore. Yeah, so this model does not have a name attribute. So we change name to display text. I will duplicate the field. I like to keep it in roughly alphabetical order. So I will alter the first instance to say display index. Let's go ahead and make the whole thing alphabetical. A, B, C, D, E, G. Yes, I still have to say, at least in my head. Cool, I think that's alphabetical. Duke says, don't train anymore, please. Thanks for being here, Duke. All right, so this is our Zod schema. So we are hardening the type here. Here I can locally blitz. I could blitz build, but I'm going to go ahead and npm run build. I believe that is what Vercel is invoking. And this is just going to shorten our developer feedback loop. So I could commit the change here and wait for CI, the Vercel build system, to tell me that there is still an error. Here I'm going to locally build, and it will just be a faster way for me to see that error. Ix says, what is this? Some sort of runtime TypeScript reflection. That's basically correct. So this is a Zod schema. You could call it a runtime TypeScript reflection. It's specifically a form filter, a form controller, So it makes sure that you do not send data that doesn't comply with your type to the database. And yeah, that's kind of a form of reflection. Duke says, sorry, I wanted to say don't train ChatGPT anymore. Oh, okay, I got it. Thank you so much for all the likes. Okay, so we did see the expected error. Let me grab the string, Control-C, Control-Shift-F, Control-V, Enter. That will find across all files. And here we are in the create checklist item file. So here's the create checklist item schema. This is what we updated. No, it's not. We updated create checklist. This is a checklist item. So they're two distinct schemas. Actually, I ruined this. Because I treated it as though it were the checklist item. So this is a different schema. This is the checklist. We need name and version. I'm going to copy these to my clipboard because I'll need them for the next Zod. But I'm going to undo my changes. I'm going to redo them because it was basically alphabetical. I'll just put name. Okay, name and version is the other one. So a version is a new thing, and this is just another string. In a future state, the version could be turned into a date field. I don't want to force that right now. Okay. Let's get rid of the comment here. We're not doing multi-tenant, at least not at the moment. And here I will have display text, display index, A, B, C, D. Cool. Reminds me a lot of Joy. Yeah, it's kind of similar. Right? Okay. So what are we doing now? I'll go ahead and try to run the build just so that I can get some eager detection on the existing errors. I don't think we've fixed it yet, to be transparent with you. So what I'm expecting is, now that we have fixed these schemas, the locations that use the schemas are likely to still error. Maybe not, but that's going to be my next suspect. So here we are at this location. Grab the string and rinse and repeat, the same old process. Right, so here we are using the schema, and I now have a lint error on the data field. Okay, so here is my input. This resolver will prevent the input from getting this far at runtime, but it doesn't assist my type flowing through. Or does it? I don't know. Let's see. I'm expecting a type here. So let's just test this. So I'm going to call this foo, and I'm going to use the parse method, which is an alternative to the resolver Zod pipe method. So here I am on foo. It's the same. Okay, so the issue is not whether I use parse or the resolver pipe. The issue is that the type is non-conformant with what's expected. Let me generate Prisma. Before I alter the type here, I want to make sure that I have to. I want to make sure that this is not a local type caching issue. So I'm going to control click into the DB, into the Prisma client, again into the Prisma client. Force reloaded the Prisma client type. And so here I want to see the create checklist args, I believe is what we're complaining about. Checklist item, create input. So what it's saying, to translate this, you could throw this error into GPT and ask it to explain. It will do a fabulous job, I assure you. But I'll just go ahead and tell you. The schema that we've defined, TypeScript thinks it is out of alignment with the checklist item create input is the issue. So types of property display index are incompatible. String is not assignable to number. Okay, so the issue is that when display index comes in, it's a string. Now, I may have made that error. Or it also might be an error in the form itself. I'm trying to remember, if you submit a UI form, will Zod automatically turn it into a string? Let's just try to do this. I might be able to just completely ignore that question. Let's try to build one more time. Did that fix it? Okay, so that quieted the whole issue. That's not going to actually fix the UI because the UI does not have a form field for the display index. And in the future, it should. But I'm going to sweep that under the rug for now because these items are not created through the UI currently. Currently, they're created by seeding. So I'll add an item to the GitHub backlog, but it's going to be low priority. Cubing Addict says, did you fix the order of the checklist? Yes and no. We're currently still working on it. So I fixed it in the database. So here are the display indices. But the UI code is not utilizing that property currently. So we're fixing the build, and then we will update the UI code after that. Does that make sense? Ixie says, what keyboard switches do you have? This is the Razer. Check it out. Quick reminder, you can go over to YouTube, link is in my bio, and see the full screen. I'm on the road to 1,000 YouTube followers. I want to try to make YouTube partner, so I'd appreciate your support. Other things you can do to support the channel, like the video and share it with a friend. The Prisma generate succeeded. Let's see if the npm run build will survive. Even if it fails at this point, I think we have enough changes that I feel good about making commit, a git commit. Close one of these. I don't need both of them. Another reminder, this is part 12 in a series. Here's the YouTube series building laterally. Now let's close that tab. Here is the Vercel build. Creating an optimized build. We haven't filled out yet. That's interesting. I'm going to close this tab. The URL up here includes a SHA that's unique to this particular commit. So when I push a new commit, that will no longer be the screen that I want to look at. Past validity of types. So now we are trying to create a production build. Let me go ahead and stage this then. And I will call this fix build. Admittedly, it's not guaranteed that the build will pass until that line resolves, but we can be high confidence, even if not certain. Tony, thank you for the follow. Attempted import error. Interesting. Let's check this out. Tier validator. Is not exported. It appears to be exported here. Why does it say that it's not exported? Okay, so it built, but we have some suspense logs. These look concerning to me. Import trace requested for this module, setting form, okay? Export const z equals. I'm going to go ahead and push. So we can keep looking at this while we push it. So I now expect the Vercel build to pass, but I'm still a little bit nervous because why is it doing this? Here I will go ahead and ask ChatGPT. Let's do a new chat. We'll do the code interpreter this time. Consider the following Blitz.js TypeScript code. We'll annotate it. Ask it a question. And my question is going to be, why did the attempted import error occur? I'm going to ask it two questions. Now consider the build output. Task, answer two questions. 1, why did what is that thing called? Suspense. Why was this displayed? Oh no, I messed up. Sorry. Stop generating. That's on me. Why was this displayed? And why was this displayed? The second thing being, Hi says, I want to learn. Go for it. Duke says, you need to have premium GitHub account for use deployment pipelines. Not if you want to use GitHub Pages. So you can use GitHub Pages for free static deployment. Otherwise, I think you're right. Take a note of the fact that you can use Vercel and deploy on Vercel for free. So that's what I recommend if you are trying to build a portfolio for free. You should have no reason to pay for your portfolio. I highly recommend you use the combination of GitHub and Vercel. Hi says, I don't know where to start. The answer is link in my bio, laterally.io. This is a very common problem. What do I do? Where do I start? The answer is that checklist right there. The standard checklist frees here. And if you want, you can bump up to the advanced checklist as little as $1 a month, and you'll be supporting the rest of the community. Duke says, thanks. You're very welcome. Quick reminder, you can go to YouTube and see the full screen. We got the build passing. So in theory, we could merge this PR, but I want to make sure that the UI code is working. Let's read what ChatGPT has to say, and then we will go over to some UI code. Okay. Suspense is a mechanism, whatever. I know what suspense is. In your case, seems to be the fallback content. Only if it's built into Blitz. So this could be past knowledge cutoff. Could be due to SSR, SSG. I think this is a bad thing, and I think GPT did not help me understand the issue very well. So here, I would like static generation to succeed. Static generation appears to be having a leak. It appears that there is a leak somewhere. So settings is getting the yellow 141 KB. So maybe then settings has the leak. So let's go to the settings page. Here's the index of settings. We are using the setting form. Wafi, is it worth upgrading to paid GPT or free should be enough? I highly recommend paid GPT. It does depend on your personal conditions. If it's really expensive for you, maybe it's not worth it. For me, I find that it's much, much better. I actually don't enjoy coding with GPT-3. It gets things wrong, I would say about, 20% of the time or so, but that's enough that I end up spending a lot of time double checking it, and it sort of defeats the purpose of using it. So here we have suspense. Suspense is wrapping the setting form, but it's not wrapping get settings. So maybe I should have suspense around the whole setting list. Well, I do have suspense around the whole setting list. Let me test commenting this line. Does that fix or create absent the rendering suspense fallback log? What's the issue here? I can probably help. I'm just getting annoyed by these logs. So I would prefer that the suspense fallback does not log. It's not technically creating an error. It may be bloating my setting page chunk size. So I'm going to time box it. If it takes me more than, 3 minutes, I'll just move on. But ideally, that doesn't happen. Here I'm seeing these are circle emblems, which indicates that they were automatically rendered as static HTML, even the settings page. So it's not forcing SSR, so that's good. All right, and I get the suspense fallback even when I comment it. Even when I comment it. So commenting that did not help, so let's undo that. It's something here, and I'll time box it. I'll just ignore them for now. We're going to create 2 GitHub issues. One is checklist creation UI needs to pass integer display index field for the checklist items. We'll label this as not urgent or low priority, in other words. Okay. And we are going to create one more. Setting form, build warning. Again, this is, in my opinion, low priority. Hi, thank you for the follow. Thanks for the likes, y'all. Over 700. Let's try to get to 1,000. Okay, so the build is succeeding. What we want to do now is make sure that the UI code uses the display index. So here's the page, my basic checklist page. And I hit the zoom button because it's right there. Why not? Control P, Control V, enter. Right click, close others. So here's the My Basic Checklist page. Here are the checklist items. This is looking good. Checklist items. This is strange because the method name is the same as the argument name. I don't like that. So I'm partial to changing this to say checklist item list. So if this is a checklist item list, and this is not wrapped in a suspense handler, but this one is. Okay. Okay, so let's do one thing at a time. First, I will change this checklist item list. Okay. Looks good. Got the Tailwind styles, including the custom laterally light purple. You love to see it. Poppy Sensei says, I have arrived. Thanks for being here, Poppy Sensei. AFA 2024, thanks for all the likes. So we are over 2,000 likes. Slat Piece, thank you for the likes. Y'all rock. Chudy, thank you for the follow. Lord Krakos, thank you for the likes. All right, so now we have this suspense wrapped checklist item list. And I just want to make sure that we render these items in order. So we have an OLLI. So this is an ordered list. Checklist items map. I could sort them here. That is not optimal. The optimal thing to do is ensure that the mutation, when we query for the checklist items, not when we update them, sorry, not the mutation, the query is an ordered query at query time. Why is this a mutation? That's strange. My basic checklist. Oh, because this is whenever I click the checkbox is the idea, right? That's right. All that's changing here is the is complete state of the checklist item. Okay, so this is not the query. Good. I was confused. I was like, this doesn't look like a query. Here's the query, and it is also wrapped. Okay. I'm going to do this just as another test, but this should not remove the dynamic server usage thing. Let's do that. Just because it's bugging me. Okay, in the meantime, let's go here, checklist by name, and we are getting the programming job checklist in particular. That's right. Let me get rid of this comment. That's not a helpful comment. We want to ensure that these are ordered. So what does this do? Generic checklist not found. Good, we're throwing an error in that case. Otherwise, let's get the user checklist. Let me take a look at, I'm going to pull this off screen because it's arguably user data, the user checklist entities. I don't think names are attached. Yeah, okay, I'll bring it back. There's no names on here. So here is a user checklist. I think these have a bug because it appears like there's only one user checklist. Kempe, sometimes I get these ideas for projects, but they become too big. How do I keep it manageable? The answer is you write them down. You write down discrete tasks as user stories. You create a backlog. You see here I have 36 items in my backlog. If I tried to do all of these, I would be overwhelmed. It's just not possible. So what you need to do is write them down and work on one thing at a time. You can get 10 ideas and you write down 9 of them, and you build 1 of them. And when the one thing is done, the remaining 9, you sort them by priority, and you only do one thing at a time. Now, when you get to the senior level, maybe you can do 2 or 3 things at a time. There's reasons for that, but as introductory advice, do one thing at a time. Good question. Thank you for being here. So I am concerned about the user checklist because it seems that it's being shared across all users. So is there already user checklist items don't exist? Currently, yeah. So this is the bug that we want to address. In the spirit of doing one thing at a time, I'm not going to fix it right now. First, we are going to make sure that the bugged checklist is sorted, and then we will remove the bug. Here I still got the dynamic programming thing. All right, fine. So it's not helping me at all. Grupo Maquera. Hopefully I said that right. Thank you for the follow. Silly Guy says, how come the end of your start date string field isn't consistent the final digits? What is the start date? Do you mean the created at? They're not consistent in a number. Yeah, okay. They're not consistent in a number of ways. It's not just the last bit. These items were created at different times. You see? 717, 705, they're even created on different days. For some of them, though, say, for example, these two, they were created on the same day at different times. So the former part is the date, and the latter part is the time of day. Shout out to Liquid Death, by the way. Convicted Melon right here. Liquid Death, if you want to sponsor me, I'm here for it. Chat, I don't know if there is a Liquid Death Reddit, but if there is, please feel free to drop this video in the Liquid Death Reddit so that we can get me a Liquid Death sponsorship. Kirito, I don't know if this is off topic. Can you explain the open source curriculum? I signed up and I want to start as soon as possible. Hey, Kirito, if you signed up, simply click the standard checklist button. So these are the items, walking you step by step. Now you can go to the Laterally Slides repo. This is an older way to do it, but it's still very good. And you can click the curriculum markdown file. And you can read through the markdown file. Or alternatively, you can view the curriculum as a slideshow, link in the README. And this is just like your college lecture, right? It's just like your professor is giving slides at class. And you can do it this way if you want to. Or the newer way is the checklist is supposed to capture the same stuff. Now there are imperfections in the checklist. It's sort of quickly thrown together, admittedly. But in theory, you should be able to get started with the checklist alone. That's the goal anyway. Hope that makes sense. Let me know if you have any additional questions. And thank you for being here. Here's get checklist by name. So I find the checklist. If there's not a checklist, I'm going to create it. Otherwise, I'm going to return it. And the issue is that this find first has no order by. So let's add it. Order by. Notice that TypeScript suggested the property name. That's what TypeScript, that's one of the many things TypeScript does instead of JavaScript. Yeah, what would I like to order it by? I would like to order it by display index. This is an invalid value, so let's get the valid value. Here I will create a property called order by, and that has a type like so. Let's import the Prisma helper, which will give us access to those types. I'm going to control click so that I can view the details. So these are what I can order by when I'm trying to order the checklist items. I don't want this. I want to order by the display index. Okay, so I should not have order by here at all. Let me delete this line. I should have the order by under checklist items. I'm going to create a property that is called include checklist items. It does not take this type, so we remove that type. Let me make it an empty object for now. I'm going to grab this object, include checklist items, and bring it up here. Do you see what I did? I extracted the sub expression up to here. And now I'd like to type only the include statement. I'm looking for where I can find a property. I'm control clicking user find first checklist args. It extends the base. Okay, let's check out the base. Select include, and this is what I believe we are working with. Like Missy Elliott said, show me what you're working with. Okay, that doesn't allow me direct access through the DB helper, so let me try to pick the Prisma helper. And it works. I can control click user or checklist, not checklist items. Okay, this is way high order. This is up here. So the include checklist items, I thought it goes down here, but actually this is this value up here. Include checklist items up here. Then checklist. Okay, so we're diving into checklist. We're at checklist args. Checklist. And here we are again at the include value. So this is what the type should be. So I got the type wrong. It is not user checklist include, it is checklist include. Let's look at that. And now we see checklist items. Good. So previously I gave it the value of true, but I am able to use this bad boy, and this is what I'm looking for. I don't just want to tell it true, which means include the related checklist items. I don't just want to tell it that. I want to sort them. So this is what I've been looking for. This is where the order by can live. Turn the true statement into an object. Now let's give it the order by property. And now I can finally pick what I want. What I want is the display index. So the key will be display index and then ASC or DSC. I want it to start with one at the top. So 1, 2, 3, like so. That would be ascending. So here we will give the value of order by is not a string but an object, where the key is display index and the value is ASC. Cool. And now we have finally accomplished what I was trying to do. If that seemed complicated, that's because it is. ORMs, unfortunately, are complicated. I look forward to an ORM that simplifies things. Taylor says, thoughts on Prisma 5? I don't know, but I hope it simplifies the syntax. I remain a fan of Prisma. I don't know of a better ORM. I'm not on the Drizzle train. I've done a YouTube video, or more than one, but I think at least one, showing why I don't like Drizzle. Definitely not Sequelize or TypeORM or any of those. So I think Prisma is the best we got. But I haven't really dove into Prisma 5 specific features. Kirito says, if I can ask, what languages, frameworks, and tools do you use/recommend for full stack? So first of all, if you do that checklist I told you about, this is all answered. But I recommend you learn React, not Python. That's one of my slogans. So first you want HTML, then CSS, then vanilla JavaScript, then React. React is a rendering library, not a framework, but these days, if you create a new React application in 2023, we don't use Create React App anymore. We use Create Next App, and Next is a full stack framework. So that is your path to full stack development right there. Have a hard time deciding between JS and TS. It's straightforward. You start with JS. You don't start with TS. You start with JS, and then you build on that with TS. Next, Create Next App will be TypeScript by default. So that is a very easy switch to make it that time. Don't overthink it. If you just use the defaults, you're going to end up in TypeScript world. Goku. All right, Goku in the chat. What up? What language is that? This is TypeScript. Thanks for being here. If you're enjoying the video, tap to like it or share it with a friend. Quick reminder, YouTube in my bio, you can see the full screen. And here is the website, latterly.io. You can sign up now for free and learn to code. You can get advanced help for as little as $1 a month. Okay. Now we have this include. In theory, that should solve the whole problem, in theory. Let's see what this thing is complaining about over here. Checklist items does not exist over here. Okay, so if there's not a user checklist, okay, we need to update the include statement in both places. Okay, did that solve the issue? Nope, we're still complaining. Checklist items does not exist on checklist and object. I think we can simply override the type in this case. Unfortunately, the type does not seem to flow through such that it knows that it's checklist with checklist items. So the inclusion type is not properly flowing through. Here it's still nullable. Do we do a null check? Okay, so I will specify a type here, and this is user checklist with checklist items. That is a type. And that is a user checklist and checklist items, which is an array of checklist items. Okay. This async function will return a promise of this thing. User checklist with checklist item type does flow through. Checklist does not exist. Did you mean checklist ID? Interesting, interesting, interesting. I think I screwed something up. The user checklist has a checklist. So here's a user checklist. Right. So the user checklist has a checklist that has checklist items. User checklist has a checklist. Yep. And now it doesn't know that the checklist items, user checklist with checklist items. And so here, I need to nest the type. And we're good. I need to do a functional test to verify that I did not just lie to my type compiler. npm run, or npm start, I think should work. This should run blitz start. Okay, I was thinking blitz dev. This might not work. I might need to run npm run dev. But let's take a look. Kirito says, got it, thank you. It's difficult when you don't have someone to point you in the right direction. I heard you on that. I agree. That's the reason we made Latterly. Goku says, do you do Python content? Yes, I do. Yes, I do, sometimes. So if I have a task that requires Python, then I do Python content. Alan, hey, good to see you, Alan. Could you explain what the pipe is doing on line 10? Yeah, so this is a functional pipe, so it's streaming the result. Whoa, what happened here? Yo, what happened here? I have a log somewhere that is kind of nasty. Let me see if I can answer your question quickly. It's passing arguments is what it's doing. So this entire file where it says export default, you can think of this entire thing. Oh, and the return statement is screwed up. That could be my issue. You can think of the entire thing that I'm exporting here. So what is this? This is about 30 lines of code as a single function. It's getting passed into this use query statement. And use query is going to take this function and pass it this argument. Does that make sense? That's what the pipe is doing. So that's how the name comes through here. It's passed and it comes through here. It was not passed like a typical function with the parentheses. It was passed using this use query mechanism, which is important because use query gets to apply some middleware logic and it can handle caching and do all that sort of thing. I don't want to do that for every time I need to write a query. I don't want to do all of that boilerplate middleware. So I let the library take care of that. And this is just how we implement that middleware pattern. Is the library gives me the use query function, then I give it the actual query that I want to use, and I give it the argument in this sort of indirect syntax. And it puts them together when it deems fit. Tanner, thanks for the follow. Romcom, thank you for sharing. Over 50 people here. Glad to see you all. Tap the video to give it a like. Share it if someone that you know is into coding. And you can see the full screen if you go over to the YouTube. Link is in my bio. Cool. So here we have some nasty stuff that got dumped. I might be able to throw this one over to ChatGPT. Control AC. Let's see if it can easily handle this. Consider the code below. Let me specify the TypeScript. Query. TypeScript Blitz.js query. My return statements provide me the following error. How can I fix this issue? Let me know if I can provide clarifying additional context. Okay, it wants me to use as. Yeah, I'm here for it. I don't care. I'm here for it. We're just telling the compiler that everything's okay. Don't worry, everything's fine. Normally this would be a problem, except that I know that this is because of the way Prisma is propagating the type. So I, as a developer, have special knowledge that this is a special case that makes this okay. In general, as is a code smell. I want to say that again. Let me be clear. In general, using the as keyword is a code smell that indicates that you have a type leak. You have an improper type. And I do have an improper type. Let me show you the improper type. It's right there. Checklist and empty object is not correct. The problem is it's generated programmatically by Prisma. I don't have direct control over that. And I'm using this as a workaround to solve a problem introduced from a library. So that's why I'm doing this. But in general, this is a code smell. Okay. This is looking fine from a type perspective. The question is, does it blend? Will it work? So let's go to the checklist. See what happens over here. Let's inspect. We're seeing some lag or some network error or something. Go over to the network tab. I'm going to refresh the page. And I don't see the request even being made. It's not like we're hanging and waiting on something. Oh, are we? Memory cache, disk cache. No, we're not waiting on anything. It thinks that the job is done, but the query has not been launched. So let me kill the server and try this again. If this doesn't work, I will try to npm run dev. Here I will right-click, empty, hard cache, and reload. Blitz may be trying to serve a previously built version of the code. Look at this. npm run dev. Let me double check my own README to make sure that I have this communicated properly. Getting started, it says blitz dev. Okay. It's escaping me why I would blitz dev instead of npm run dev. It's escaping me. I'm currently under the impression they're isomorphic, so I think it should work either way. Let's take a look. Samuel, have you tried WSL? I have. I tried it back when it was like version 1, and I was not so hot on it. Apparently it's better now. I just haven't had a need to use it. Here I can see the favicon is spinning, so I know that my site is still loading. And now I have an authentication error. Okay. All right, this is fine. Error, you must be authenticated. So let me go back and try to log in again. Let's try to log in. Will it recognize my prod credentials? We're in. Gang, gang. All right. And we have an ordered checklist. I've participated in the endorsed communities is the first step. I don't know that it should be the first step, but I think it is the first step. If I Control-Shift-F, Control-V, Enter, and I look into my seeds, I believe it is the first seed. I'm not super crazy about the ginormous logging over here, but I think Blitz does that out of the box. So you see this is the first item. Maybe it should not be the first item, but in any case, it is the first item. I do think that joining Discord is the first thing to do. Then watch the trial by fire. Yes, indeed. Web dev program. Substantive web dev program is the next step. All right, these are looking good. And after you get done with LinkedIn skill certs, you optimize your LinkedIn resume, apply the 5 to 23 patterns article, and end up on step 15 with a job, baby. So this is good, but I want to move the location of this first item. Let me ship one thing at a time. So here, let's go ahead and ship it. This will be, the feature is ordered checklist items. That's it. UI ordered checklist items. Okay, let's commit that. Now I'd like to change my checklist.json, right click, close others. I'm going to N key, shift, home key, control X, shift, home, back, control S. Okay, so I just cut it and I have it on my clipboard now. When should you start participating with endorsed communities? That is the question. When should you start participating with endorsed communities? I would like you to get your LinkedIn skill certs done first. I'm going to add it right here. You don't necessarily need to do A before B. You can do your LinkedIn first. But I think this is a good time to bring it up. If you do start, for example, Free Code Camp or Black Girls Code or Girls Who Code or these other endorsed communities that are tech-related social communities, if you do them at this time, you may be able to mention them on your LinkedIn, and you will be able to mention them on your resume. Let's test this out. Let's go over to LinkedIn. Can I mention Faith Tech, which is another one? Can I mention Faith Tech as an affiliation on my LinkedIn? Oh, wow, I got my whole banner going on. Education, position, career break, skills, recommended, feature, add recommendation. Maybe use indirectly your network of an affiliated social community to get a recommendation, but that's not the main point. Organizations. Okay, let's see if I can find it here. Or volunteer experience. Free Code Camp could be volunteer experience. Or causes. It could be any of these three. And maybe you'll get an award. Maybe you'll get into a hackathon through one of these or something like that. So let me try volunteer experience. Organization Free Code Camp. Yep, it comes up. Faith Tech. Faith Tech, yep. Black Girls Code. Black Girls Hack. I haven't heard of that. There are too many. Girls Who Code. Girls Who Code. No? Do I need spaces? Girls Who Code. Okay, so that one has spaces in it. Whatever. Great. So you can put any of these under, and then women. Yeah, whatever. So these exist under volunteer. Volunteer, organizations, or causes. Let's check again. Here I will do women in tech. Is it popping up? No. Blacks in tech. No. So this one seems less friendly because it's not popping up the related organizations. Girls Who Code. Okay, so let's not recommend this. Discard this. And then what about the third option, which is add causes? And this is something like totally different. Causes you care about. Oh, apparently I don't care about arts and culture. This is so weird. Shouldn't you care about all this stuff? This is so weird. I don't really care about alleviating poverty. I feel like they added new categories after I filled this out. and then it gives it an empty checkbox, and it's super cringe. Trust me, I really care. It's a huge thing that I do care about. Volunteer experience. Okay, so I'll go ahead and specify. Blacks in Tech is here. Blacks in Tech with spaces. Blacks in Technology. Yep, BIT. Okay, I'll go ahead and specify that I recommend the volunteer experience section in particular. So I have participated in laterally endorsed communities as recommended. I have optimized my LinkedIn. let me just go ahead and put it's really the same. It's really a subcategory of optimizing my LinkedIn, but I will call it out specifically. I have volunteered with this is kind of like an optional thing, right? It's a good idea, but it's an optional thing. So let me just say optional. I have volunteered with a social community and a laterally endorsed community and listed the volunteer experience on my LinkedIn page. Cool. So that's optional, but it feels like a good idea, right? So we have changed these checklists, Jason. Let me kill the server. We've changed these checklists, Jason. Now I want to, first of all, stage it. And I want to run a reseed, npm run seed. MS says, I can't believe you don't believe in animal welfare. Oh, gosh. If you're like in support of all the causes, do they even matter anymore? It's so confusing to me. If I have to leave one out, it's going to be animals. Got to tell you. I love animals. I got 2 sister huskies. But I would put like basically any human before any animal pretty much. Checklist item not found. Ooh, so that was really goofy. Himavi says, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? So what happened here? Checklist, this is the user checklist. Let's get away from this. We want to look at the checklist items. Refresh. Thank you for all the follows. John, American Hustlers, Clone XJ, Mr. Nice Guy. Thanks, y'all. If you're enjoying the video, consider tapping the screen on TikTok to give it a like, or go to YouTube in my bio, like the video over there, and share it with a friend. So we ran seed here, and this was a bit of a disaster. I think I should have seeded update in place. Let's fix that was our problem. I wanted to update the checklists in place, not create new ones. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so this is the problem. I will quickly npm run dbclean. And this will delete unused checklists where there's no user using that checklist. This should delete the 3 that we just made, unless one of y'all crazy kiddos was like lightning fast. Okay, we deleted a bunch of them. Okay, because no one's using the advanced checklist either. Himavi, just started learning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Do you have any tips? I do. I will give you something super fresh today that I'm going to incorporate into the curriculum, but I haven't done it yet. So thank you for this question and giving me an opportunity to talk about a few things. Laterally, issue 50, the new modules epic. These are all of my tips for you. First, you should learn how to search. You should learn how to work with an LLM. We want to use Claude for strategic questions like my job search, and we want to use ChatGPT for technical questions like coding syntax. Claude is not great at coding syntax. How to use Google, including the site operator and Boolean search, double quotes, plus, minus, and so on. And well-known search, you want to have a list of places like Stack Overflow, W3 Schools, CSS Tricks, a list of well-known trusted sources, Traversy Media. Okay, so this is how you search. Get a GitHub portfolio going as quickly as possible. That's my next advice to you. Himavi, do you have a GitHub portfolio yet? Can you send me the link? Make that, if the answer is no, you haven't started it yet, make one today. You should not spend an hour of your time working and not getting credit for your experience. You should get credit from that from day one. Otherwise, when it comes time to apply, you're going to have people giving you side eye. You're going to have recruiters who are like, he doesn't really have 6 months, does he? He's kind of BSing me, isn't he? Show them the portfolio. It has the number on it. It's verified, third-party, proven learning. So get on GitHub, start pushing commits. That's my next piece of advice. And then make a caterpillar. Make a caterpillar like this. Isn't this cool? I'm going to create a new beginner project, which is a caterpillar like this. There's no JavaScript. It's just HTML and CSS. And you can do the responsive thing where like caterpillar, cocoon, butterfly are horizontally stacked on desktop, and then you switch to mobile and they go to vertically stacked. A great little cute, very small project that demonstrates HTML and CSS without JavaScript. So check something out like that. You don't need to do this stuff, but this is what's coming up if you get involved in Laterally. After you have the non-interactive caterpillar, which is what I just described, later will be an interactive caterpillar, where basically you can click a button and feed this caterpillar an apple, and it turns into a cocoon, and then you click another button that waits in time, quote unquote, basically a next button, and it turns into a butterfly. And that's kind of the whole idea. So you introduce interactivity on top. And that's kind of the gist of it, what I wanted to mention about. I also get a next-based project, create next app, if you haven't done that already. In 2023 and beyond, we want you to learn React. And the way to build a React project now is using create next app. So that's all of my advice. I have a GitHub account from back in high school, but I think, and also an AWS certification. I don't really have anything on GitHub. That's an easy problem to solve, isn't it? Push some commits. Feel free to renew the certification if you want to. It doesn't really matter. Jacob Gatto, any advice on learning to code outside of college? I'm an ISM major. Yeah, all my advice is outside of college. I don't assume that you're actually learning much in college. The same advice applies. A portfolio. Build a portfolio. All right, Music Zest. Thanks for the follow. Schifer. Yes, game. Ice cream so good. What up, Schifer? We gotta do a collab, bro. Hope you're doing all right. I think, yeah, I don't want to talk about the situation unless you want me to. So you can say your piece though. But look forward to the new videos whenever they're ready. Slat Piece says, any advice on learning how to code outside college? Okay, and you came over there, Jacob. So I think I got to your question already. The Bean, hard code equals bad. You're right. You're right. Hey, actually, The Bean, just so you know, this checklist.json file is a seed file. So this is somewhere that you do want to hard code. So this will be read in, and then your code uses variables, but your seeds are absolutely hard coded. That's, yeah. So this is not hard coding, actually. Himavi, thanks for the advice. I'm really shooting for a front-end position one day. I don't think you should. Let me show you something. Let me show you the Stack Overflow developer survey for this year. So we're going to go to the developer profile. We're going to look at jobs. I think what you should do is get a job. Developer roles. So why would you pigeonhole yourself to being eligible for only about 7% of programmer roles? Go full stack. You can get a full stack role, a back end role, or a front end role if you do that. And now you're looking at the majority of programming roles you're eligible for. So honestly, even if you really enjoy front end, honestly, I encourage you to back. Anyway, for what it's worth, that's my advice. David, thank you for the follow. Okay, we're wrapping up soon, y'all, because everything's working. We want to pass this migration. So we did. It updated the version string. Cleanup is done. Cleanup is done. Let me make sure that I have my premium. Oh no, you're going to get to see the secret premium checklist. Cool. This is garbage anyway. Oh man, I think I nuked my premium checklist. Good thing I have the list on my other computer. Yeah, I nuked the premium checklist. Oh no! I'm so dumb. I have it on my other computer, so I'll re-upload this. Cool. How did I manage to nuke it? Because I ran npm db clean, which should have run the backup. Checklist backup is the backup checklist script here. Let me compare timestamps. So this is Command C, Command F, Command V. It's right here. Okay, so the backup did work. So I did not nuke my program. Okay, so the real issue is that I never uploaded the new premium checklist. Not that I nuked it. It's sitting there on my other computer. Whatever, that's fine. Let me get rid of this line. So we did these backups, and then we cleaned the unused checklist, and now we want to reinstall. So now let's checklist restore. No, we just reseed. That's right. Seed. And so this should be the piece that fixes my where the laterally endorsed communities is not the first checklist item anymore. That's what this should do. Not found. Bummer, bummer. It's weird that like only a few of these are not found. I wonder why. Okay, so I got my 3 checklists now. Let's look at the checklist items. Cool. Let's sort on the display index. I think that's fine. Zero 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 1 1 1 2 2, which is fine. What? Oh, it was like a multi-tier sorting or something. I think that threw me off. Sorry about that. Display index. Join the Discord is now index 0. That's what I love to see. And here's the optional, the new one we created. It got inserted in there. Cool. Let's start back up the local server. npm run dev. LJ White, love Supabase and Prisma combo. I'm using the same for a project now. It's great, isn't it? Bro Code followed. What's up, Bro Code? Thanks for being here. We're getting close to the end, y'all. This mission is a success. We want to verify that, but it's really looking like it. So the commit here, this will be feature optional volunteering task. Optional volunteering task. That's the difference there. Fast refresh, had to perform a full reload. What a bummer. We'll push these up. Yeah, the dynamic server usage thing is really bumming me out. I need, whatever. I guess it doesn't matter that much. Join the Discord right up top. Okay, so you should be able to, I'm going to merge this and send it to prod. But you should be able to see the checklist now and use it now. The first item, join the Discord, then you watch the trial by fire. Then you can do either Coursera, Codecademy Pro, a boot camp, or a mentorship. Then you build your portfolio, use the Rect tool Stay tuned, more on that soon. We'll be merging this application with Rect, so you'll get flashcards in this application. Apply to 70 plus places each week. Follow 5 to 23 patterns article. I should throw the URL in there, shouldn't I? Optional volunteering task is here. Let's take a look at the Vercel build. The Vercel build already succeeded. SpawnBG, what you building? Are you building a checklist with React or something? Yeah, it's a checklist so that people can learn to code and get a job. Here's the Vercel preview environment. Let's take a look at that. You can see that live preview environment. This is looking good to me. We love Vercel, y'all. We really do. Hey, quick reminder, you can sign up for free, get access to the checklist, and then as little as $1 a month, and you start unlocking benefits. Complimentary 30-minute consult with me. That's like a $40, $50 value. And I'm doing it for $1 or $2 this month only. Cool. We go to the standard checklist. Oh, I'm not authenticated. Okay. Let me hit the back button. Log into this preview environment. Got to make sure it works before we ship it to prod. Don't you agree? And there you go, right up top. Join the Discord. Can check mark these things. Why is that not working? That's kind of a bummer. Oh, I guess it did work. There was just a lag on it. Oh no, do I need to have a spinner? Do I need to have a spinner icon while it updates? Spinner icons are the worst, aren't they? I think it's working fine. Cool. This looks good to me. Let's ship it. What do you think? Ready to hit the button? Boop, boop. How fast do you think it takes to learn Java? Best resource you recommend for it? I think you can learn Java in a year. Best resource to learn it. I don't know. I like learning Java through JUnit. I like starting with unit tests, but you need to have like an existing application to do that. I don't know. I mean, the way I recommend you do it is you get a job, you learn React, you get a job, and then you can switch over into Java later. So with that learning program, you'll be in a commercial setting and you'll be able to learn through JUnit, which is I think the best way to learn Java. But is there a Coursera Java course? Look, you can do a high quality coding bootcamp. That's always a win. So let's go over that real quick. All schools. By the way, Java is not a good way to break into tech, y'all. I just need to tell you. I'm going to tell you how to learn Java because you asked. But for a junior who's trying to land their first programming role, this is a bad idea. You want to go full stack so that you can access the most jobs. And Java is stack. Okay. Anyway, but like assuming that you really know what you're doing and you're sure that Java is a good idea for you, let's sort by most reviewed. Then I would like to have a score of 4.25 or higher on the 5-point scale with a minimum of 400 reviews. And then the additional criteria you're adding is I should find somewhere that does Java. So Coding Dojo seems like they do Java. Tech Elevator. Looks like those are the two, at least the two up top. If you dig, you might be able to find some others. Now notice that Coding Dojo does not have a job guarantee. And this is expensive, bro. That's a lot of money. I recommend Springboard, which is going to be under 10 with a job guarantee. So I just doubled your return on investment for you. You're welcome. And it's better than double once you do a risk-adjusted return on investment. So by isolating your options to learn Java, you're causing a market problem for yourself. So Java is a more niche language. Therefore, there's a smaller community, smaller supply of educators in the space. So you get worse competition on price. So, and other benefits, non-pecuniary benefits like guaranteeing a job. So Tech Elevator, very highly rated, right? Seems like a great school, but it's not cheap, is it? So if you want to do this, seems like a great school, but bruh, I would not be doing this. I don't recommend it to you. Telling newbies to be full stack is like telling a child to drive a car. No, I don't think so. I say learn React, not Python. And then once you learn React, you almost get full stack for free because the way you do React these days is create Next App, which is already full stack. So don't drive a car. Take it one step at a time. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, step by step. And it's going to take a good amount of time. Don't expect to do this in a month. You're not gonna get a job. Like, people don't even want to hire you, even if you're a super genius and you do successfully learn how to be a full stack developer in a month. You're still going to get filtered out because the recruiters legit want at least like 4 to 6 months of experience. If they're being nice, and if they're being mean, they want a year. So the fact that it's going to take you 4 to 6 months most of the time to be a full stack developer, like legit, it actually lines up really well with the fact that you're going to need to be practicing for that long anyway. Wes J. Official says, focus on learning .NET and C# language, and you'll pick up everything in a few years. Wes J. Official says, I have 30 years of experience. Cool, thanks for being here. Yeah, pick your poison. I don't recommend it. I think you can go right over here to the Stack Overflow Developer Survey. And it's pretty clear that like you're going to have a lot less jobs if you do that. So it's not like it's like the worst language at all. Don't get me wrong. But would you rather have 28% or 63%? So yeah, I don't recommend that. But if you're into it, go for it. Okay, y'all. So this is working. We have hit the merge button. Let's go over to the issues tab. So we merged this. Good. This issue is still not closed, and it shouldn't be. But now, looks like it shipped already. So let me hard reload production. Himalvi, I don't mind changing languages. I know a little Python. What would you recommend? Python's fine. If you already know Python, you should be able to land a job. But if you're still trying to decide, I recommend JavaScript. Start with JavaScript. Cool. And now in production, it's working. Here, link in my bio. It's Latterly.io. And you can start using this checklist and get on your way to landing a full-time role involving coding. Talk to you soon.